Hey family, how are we feeling today? Hey, today I wanted to talk about the groups of indigos. There's a lot of indigo children, these miracle children, these first wave of volunteers that came out a long time ago. Now, there are many reasons why we may feel unique and feel also out of place at the same time. So I'm going to describe 5 groups of indigo generations that came out. The alpha generation is the first generation, which is called alphas, including the children born in the period between 1958 and 1968. The alpha generation they had an awakening around 1986 until 1996. Their aura was seen as dark blue and green with purple shades. The aura was also under the influence of a metallic beige hue, protecting them from external attacks and excessively early showings of indigo potential. Since early childhood, the alpha had a feeling of being different, as if they didn't belong to their home, country, or parents. The reason for these differences were always vague and never provided a satisfactory explanation, but you'll find that with all of these generations. The second generation is the beta generation. They're the people born between 1968 and 1978. The period of awakening, it coincides roughly with the period between 1996 and 2006. The colors of their aura are blue, green, purple, but no longer the color of the metallic shield. A type featured of both generations, alpha and beta, is that they look much younger than they actually are. The third wave of indigos are the gamma generation. The gamma generation is the third generation of the indigo child, which was born 1978 to 1988. The period of intellectual awakening of these children coincides with the period of 2006 and 2016. This is the first generation of the minimum protective shield that the other twos had. It is usually purple with the markings of ochre or a crystal color. The Delta generation, these children are born between 1988 and 1998. One of the characteristics of the fourth generation is the pure indigo color of the aura. The period of maturation and spiritual awakening of the Delta generation coincides with the period from 2016 to 2026. This generation is a bit too sensitive and needs plenty of help. These people are overactive and quite extroverted. They like to show the world who they are and often do this with a great self-confidence. But that's like all the groups of indigo, very much self-confidence. In their environment, they want blue and purple colors and enjoy slow music. They avoid crowded places and anything that causes nervousness. So you would hardly see them in the cities or living in the cities like the first generation of indigos. The Delta generation usually has difficult teenage years. Many of these kids think that something is wrong with them and they may be dabbling in drugs or suicidal tendencies. The best remedy for it is nature. Now, the generation after that is the Omega generation. These children were born between 1998 and 2008. They belong to the so-called Omega Indigo generation. Supposedly, this is the last pure indigo generation. They experienced the dark night of the soul from 2026, and they will be experiencing it till around 2036. Children born in the Delta and the Omega period are also called crystal children because of the particularly bright crystal color in their aura. These children are particularly vulnerable to various dermatology problems, allergies, diseases, especially to those of the upper respiratory tract due to high environmental pollution. Also, a large portion of them are categorized as autistic or suffer from Asperger's syndrome. And these children, I guess the autism in the children is a way to self-protect from the attack of the neurosis of the outside world. Now, each generation has an awakening, and that awakening of the indigos, for each of the indigo generation, the process of awakening begins around the age of 29, well, 28, 29, and the last maybe about 7.5 years, 8 years. The dark night of the soul is a period that can be particularly difficult because it is a final return of the indigo person to their mission and life. This period is full of different problems and various difficult challenges. In the mature age of the 37 to 39, the recovery of psychic abilities begins. Until this person has enough time to finally learn to trust their psychic powers within being startled or trying to share their experiences with others. They have internal experiences may include clear insight, direction, possible internal communication with the spirit world, the ability to read thoughts, feelings, and intentions of others, understanding the parallel levels of the reality. A true insight into the nature of times. That's what they have and they have possessed. While there is no evidence to support this claim that the indigo childs or the children are real, many people have believed for decades that they are. So let's keep in mind that if you are a spiritual person, maybe believing that you're an indigo child or an adult could help you realize your potential. You may not have realized the awakening as it was happening, but you are and always have had that feeling of never fitting in or being that black sheep. So maybe you just know someone who is part of the indigo generation. Whatever the case, this may be a real reason why you or someone that you love feels different. After all, the indigos are said to possess a unique quality. So maybe it's just a metaphor for being gifted or sensitive and highly creative individual. We know that during the time that ADHD and autism and that color spectrum came in, we've noticed that the indigos that were the first wave, the alphas, also had the same symptoms or diagnosis of having autism, but they did not know in that time anything about autism. Now, if we put autism to the side at the moment, we'll see that all the children that come into this world do not want to be controlled. And we notice that the adults in this world do want to be controlled. So if you think about that for a moment, the adults want to be in control. So let's pause for a moment and sit there and think. We know that adults go through the system. Now the system is education, economics, entertainment, labor law, religion, politics, war, sex. So these are the groups that are considered the worldly system, and children are under attack in those systems. When you become an adult, you get indoctrinated into that. At one point, you went to school at a certain age. Now the younger generation goes to preschool. So as soon as they almost come out the womb, they're starting school. So we see that the children are under attack for the longest time. Why is that? Well, we'll speak about that in another video. I just wanted to get this out to you, get this second part in, because now when we get into part 3, 4, I will discuss more about the indigos, the crystals, and the rainbow children. Now, the group of indigos that came in, the last two that I mentioned are falling under the crystal era. You have to understand that. We'll use this for an example. If Mother Nature is under attack, Mother Nature will sit there and cure herself. If the divine nature is attacked, the divine nature will cure itself. If the spiritual nature is attacked, the spiritual nature will cure itself. And you are created in a beautifully perfect image, which encompasses all of these things. So in our next video, I'll sit there and I will explain a little bit about the indigo children, and we'll go forward from there. I love you guys. In Lakesh, have a beautiful day.